which is hella weird, with Jesse Eisenberg on the whole thing, and then from there I found out, oh no, it's based on a true story, and the guy actually died, and it's way more depressing.
Yeah. But it's pretty interesting though still.
Yeah. So, I'll definitely give it a look, because I'm trying to get more into documentaries these days.
Have you been watching the whole, I guess, epidemic of true crime documentaries?
See, I don't watch them as much as I should, because like on the one, I don't know. Like, there are certain documentaries I really do love, like nature ones, love. The true crime ones, I tend to just find out more about the criminals themselves. You know when you go on those massive like Wikipedia rabbit holes?
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. So like I will learn about Ted Bundy's entire life just from his Wikipedia page. and also, like, my girlfriend watched a documentary about him, and oh my god, Ted Bundy was I don't want to say fascinating, but he is literally like a villain. Like, he was the most villainous person.
See, that's the thing. I hear lots of mixed things, mixed reviews from the Ted Bundy documentary and the whole case in general, to be honest.
Yeah. So from what I was told, it kind of goes like this. So they were talking about, so from a young age, they always noticed that he had a certain disconnect from everyone.
Okay.
Because even though he was a nice kid, it was more that he tried his best to portray that he was normal rather than he was normal. Like, you know when someone says, I'm normal way too many times, and you're like, you're saying I'm normal way too many times. Yeah. And then it sort of continued. But what's really interesting about him, and this is why he is such a villain, is like just what he did. So for instance, he studied psychology at university. He then got into politics, and this is the scariest thing about him. And this chilled me to the bone, is that when he was working in politics, one of the things he was doing was sort of working with the police to basically help with their new division to curb sexual violent crimes. Mm-hmm. So basically, he was basically learning about all of these different like black spots that the police weren't able to get to in time, where they were failing, because they're like, we need to fix this problem. He's like, oh, so there's potential victims there, and I'm just there like, wow, Ted, wow. And like the thing is, because I remember like watching this one video of him and the way he sort of explains his MO and the reason why he does it, and the way he does it, it's so manipulative, because he basically gives a reason which classical like America at that time would easily latch onto and not blame him as much for, because he said, yeah, I had a porn addiction, and then it just became more and more and more and more and more extreme. I'm like, mate, I've been watching porn since I was 12, okay? I know I have not killed anyone. Shut up, that's you. That is you, okay? That is you. And yeah, so that was, and also it was the fact that just the way he would behave was really scary. So for instance, what my girlfriend told me was in the tapes of him, like, he was such a master manipulator, because when a person smiles, there's two different types of smiling. There's just smiling, and you can tell when someone's fake smile. And then there's when you smile with your eyes, so your eyes like squint a bit, and like you can just see a person's like genuinely happy. And he was a master at doing that, like almost as if he practiced it. We don't know if he practiced, but that's what he did. And one of the scariest stories is that he basically was trying to murder this lady, and then she managed to get free, and he was so pissed off that she got free that he basically murdered another lady just because he was mad at her for getting away. Legit, like that's the
that doesn't.
It's basically like, you did this to me, and he did it so much that the only reason he got caught was because, like with any criminal, you just get sloppy when you do it too much.
Yeah. And getting away with it,
Yeah. So like the reason he got caught was in like, it was a really like snowy and a very like dangerous sort of evening time. Like, snow was blowing, it was quite dark, and he didn't have his headlights on. and that's what got him caught. And the reason he didn't have his headlights on was so that people wouldn't see him driving, because he was, about to, go killing again. And then the police stopped him and was like, why don't you have your headlights on? He was like, oh, I don't know. And then they opened his trunk and saw his murder stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
But I think the most interesting thing that my girlfriend told me about the whole Ted Bundy thing was just the fact that he was so dedicated to putting on this outside image that he was very normal, to a point where if he made any mistake or if he didn't do well in school as a kid, he would really beat himself up about it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, because you said that you don't really watch true crime documentaries that much.
I don't watch a lot of them, but I do find them, and I do find out stuff about people who commit crimes anyway.
Yeah. But I just feel like recently, there's just been this crazy.
There has been a boom.
Yeah,
there has definitely been a boom.
Yeah, right? And it's not even just there's just a boom of the documentaries. It's just it's like a need and supply, because we it just seems like we're obsessed with them right now.
We are, and I think I have a few theories. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't say that this is the reason, but my guess is that when we see regular people who one would perceive to be a regular human being doing some evil shit, it not only makes us feel really curious about what are the extremes of humanity, because we would never do that.
Yeah.
So we're like, what would make a person do that? But honestly, the thing is, it's not that unusual that people would do it. I will say this though, when a society I sincerely believe this, when a society has reached a point where serial killers exist, where people just go around murdering people they have no motive to, they just do it for their own chaotically evil reasons, you failed as a society.
Yeah,
Society's done. Society's done.
That's true.
Just cancel everything. Just be done with it all. And that, I think also one of the reasons that's kept me from watching too many of them was the fact that there's just been so many popping up that even I'm like, okay, I don't even know where to start. I wanted to watch Casting John Bonet because that was interesting, and then as I was about to watch that, there was another one. That's when the Ted Bundy tapes came out, and those are the only two I can remember off the top of my head. But there's still loads more.
It was what was one I watched the other day. I watched The Keeper the other day, which it's less about the actual crime and more about the cover-up of the crime.
Okay.
Which is more interesting, but it's basically about the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. And basically there was a nun that was killed, and then the crime was covered up.
Okay, sick.
We're doing a podcast right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I could talk if you want.
Recording right now?
Yeah, right now, man.
Hi, people. How's it going? Samuel King's in the building. What's up? Nice to see you. How you guys doing? You guys good?
Yeah, good, man.
Good.
I'm sorry to disturb your podcast.
No,
that's all right. It's good to see you, though.
Yeah.
Loving the cane, by the way.
What are you guys doing here? Oh, fair enough. Cool. Enjoy your meeting.
See you later. Put in a good word for me.
So yeah, that was Samuel King and Solomon the Wizard. What was I saying? True crime documentaries, obsessions. I can't remember this whole train of thought.
You were talking about the cover-up, and it was
The Keeper, right? So the cover-up was basically. It's so big because it's
there's levels.
It's levels, yeah. So let me try and explain this the best I can. So it's all based around this school called Kiel, I think the school was called.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an all-girls school, a church school, run by obviously the Catholic Church.
This is already. I can already just hear the potential crimes.
So because it's kind of told in the third person, because someone's talking about it after the events, but she's talking about her story, but then it's kind of connected to the whole bigger story.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's more about this girl was sexually abused by one of the priests at the church school. But then during the sexual abuse and what happened, like there was also a killing. But the killing happened. The nun was killed because that nun was like kind of the youngest nun that was there at the time.
Okay.
And also like the students felt most comfortable kind of talking to her about what was going on and stuff like that. So like obviously she was also more vigilant because she was younger, so she was seeing certain things going on, and like she was obviously drawing one or two conclusions, and kind of no one was coming to her, no one was saying anything, so she didn't have any time to like kind of ask any. But I think the main girl who's talking about it, she says that she came to her and said, like, is something happening, like, shouldn't be happening, and she was just like, no, and she was like, no, come on, you can tell me. And then she told her, and she was like, all right, cool, don't worry, I'll get it sorted, I'll sort this out.
And then she died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just no, that's some bad juju right
But
there.
then also, there's the switch up, like, she was kind of, so the priest also is it's kind of bigger, because as the story unfolds, you find out that this priest who was moved to the school Kyo, before he was there, he was at another school.
I can already tell where this is going.
And like, if I'm trying to fast forward back, but basically, when they took it to trial, or where she tried to take it to trial, she was told by the Catholic Church that they can't take it any further because there's no one else to corroborate her story.
Okay.
So she was like, oh, all right, but they said to her, if you can get someone else to come forward, then obviously then we can talk. But without this corroborating story, then you find out at the end of the documentary that basically this priest was moved originally from this other church school, which may have been, I think, an all-boys school or something. And he was there, and he was also molesting this young boy there.
Oh, do you hear a phone ringing?
No.
Oh, really? Because I called it. I called it. I was like,
and
yep.
Then,
oh my god.
And then, but the only difference was in this school. The boy kind of one day after it was going on for a while, he came home and told his dad or his mum, and his mum next day went up to the school, went to the headmaster and was like, look, my son's telling me this, like, what's going on? And obviously he was like kicked out of school because he refused to, because he started telling the other kids, you need to watch out for this priest, didn't it?
Okay.
So like obviously the priest was like, oh well, if you're gonna do that, then I'll fuck up your career. Like he was in varsity teams and shit like that, and he kicked him off all the squads.
Wow.
And then suspended him. And obviously once his mum got wind of the news, he obviously told his mum about it. Boom, he got kicked out. He got reinstated, and the priest got moved from that school to Kyo.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like them disciplining the priest at the time, they acted like it never happened and just moved the priest to another school, as if like it was gonna be any different. And then the reason why he was able to get away with the one at the school Kyo for so long was because of he was, as well as him being the priest, he's like Bundy, he studied psychology. So like he would like have certain, obviously girls would come in for confessions and stuff like that, and when he heard like a girl that would tell him a story of a relative has been sexually abusing me or something like that, because he would then use that information and lord it over them and get them to do things for him.
Wow. That is evil.
I know, right?
That is wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recommend it as a documentary to watch, because it was like the story is like.
I might actually really want to check that out because I'm also writing a play.
Okay, cool.
And well, I wrote a play.
Cool.
And it's called Six of the Best, and I wanted to write an all-female play, and like it's set in an all-girls school where a murder does